So hey everyone, we're gonna have an interview with Jack here today, also known as Ralts. How did you get into GamerGate?
It's actually a little complicated, and it more comes out of spite toward a certain person than anything else. And once I got into it, I realized what exactly was going on because some people were nice enough to explain it to me, and I threw myself wholeheartedly into it. It initially started because I had a friend of mine who I thought of as a game developer. I mean, he only put out one game, and I had known him since like the early 2000s. And I got into it with him over. They had published one of the rags had published an article where this guy was complaining that he couldn't let his mother play Colonial Marines because she had rheumatoid arthritis. Okay, personally, both me and my wife feel that's bullshit. He made the decision for her. He didn't ask her. I mean, I have arthritis, and I got it pretty bad. I take medication for it. I take medication for nerve pain, and I still played Colonial Marines, love the shit out of it because it's nice and slow. It's survival horror, so it's nice. It's slow, but I was bugging my friend about it. So what more for the disabled do you want? They have closed captioning, they have colorblind mode, they have key remapping. What else do you want? And he's like, why are you asking me this? I'm like, you're a game developer. He kept giving me these bullshit answers. I said, look, man, I already adapted the control schemes. I use an Xbox 360 controller that I bought off the internet that's adapted for my hands because I got two fingers that don't work. And he's like, well, you adapted. You don't count. And then he pulled this fucking tactic with me going, why are you getting aggressive? Why are you getting aggressive? And I was like, bitch, you know me. I'm not being aggressive. I'm aggressive when, I'm basically in your face. I'm not aggressive for, asking a question. And then he blocks me, which I couldn't believe how cowardly it was. And then all these people started coming out of the woodwork and hitting my account. And mostly my account was used before this to advertise my Twitch stream like a retard because, I like to play video games and people come on my channel and make fun of me because I'm old as hell and smoke. And it doesn't bother me because, hey, I'm having fun. I figure other people might like to watch some old guy try to play games. And they started coming to my Twitch channel, and I traced it all back to somebody I thought it was a friend. Well, I was bitching to somebody. And they said, you know much about Gamergate? I'm like, no, just all I know is it has to do with women and gaming and threats and swatting, and I don't give a shit. And they said, no, you need to come check this out because the guy that you pissed off is part of it. And so I got into it out of spite, initially. Then I found out exactly what's going on. Women can't protect themselves, and they need the great white hope to come in there and save them. Okay, that's offensive as shit. All these articles I see are all, we have to protect women because they can't do it themselves, and they have no self-determination, and they can't think for themselves, and they can't do for themselves. And then I hear, oh, women don't like games like Left 4 Dead 2. Okay, when my daughter was younger, she got Left 4 Dead 2 when it first came out. She was a member of a clan with a leaderboard with other clans, and she was so goddamn feared that people would join the lobby for Left 4 Dead, and if they saw her name, they dropped from the game because fuck their ranking, they're not playing with it. My wife plays the shit out of all kinds of games. I mean, everything from Left 4 Dead 2 to Banished to, she played WoW for a while, thought it was too boring. My daughter plays the shit out of The Sims and mods the hell out of it. I mean, so we're a video gaming family. And hearing that women can't play these games and that they need special protection and everything is offensive as shit. Not only does it offend me, but it offends my wife. It's offensive to my kids. It's offensive to women everywhere. Because women are perfectly capable of playing fucking video games and don't need some fucking hipster douchebag who discovered fucking feminism from what he read in a pamphlet at a coffee shop coming up and saying, oh, you poor woman, you don't know any better. Let me speak for you because you're not smart enough. No, shut the fuck up and sit down and let women go back to playing video games and enjoying themselves. Okay, like my kids didn't even know that The Sims couldn't have lesbian and gay relationships because I modded it so they could. And then later it came out that they could, and that's fine. But the thing is they're telling women, oh, women don't, there's an article recently, oh, women don't have the time because they're taking care of kids and cooking and doing laundry for their husband and cleaning to play video games, and they just might want the story. It's like, holy shit. This guy's from 1950 and thinks that all that women do is take care of their man and babies. It's like, why don't you get back in the kitchen and be pregnant instead of playing these video games because you can't fast forward through the combat? Every woman in my life, every woman that I know that's an adult, aside from my kids, takes a joy in virtual combat. You know, my wife said it last night. There's a certain joy in making your opponent in PvP kneeling down and saying, "I'm not going to hurt you, I'm not going to hurt you," and then shooting him in the head. It's fun. And so the more this got into it, the more pissed off I became, because this is the same bullshit we saw for rock, for rap, for fucking 80s long hair butt rock, for Dungeons and Dragons, for Vampire the Masquerade. Is these people that have no clue about the cliques, about the society, about the culture, come in and start telling us what is right and what is wrong when they have these low-end, just barely into the industry, and have only been into the industry and only interested in the culture for the last couple of years. They want to come in and they want to tell us who have been here since the fucking get-go, that we're wrong. You know what? Take your fucking ass, take your baby ass and fucking walk. Adapt to the culture that's already there and work to change it from the inside, like I do, like so many other people do, or shut the fuck up, sit down, and suck on your fucking bottom. Okay, next question.
Currently, what are you doing in the hashtag itself? What in the presence?
I do several things. I will admit I've got several accounts that I tweet and I retweet because I learned my fucking lesson. If people get their hands on your real information, they will destroy your accounts. Not by, you know, blaming you stuff. I mean, a recent thing Ralph was, you know, dealing with, you know, people were saying that he raped and killed a girl behind Arby's in 1988. Well, 1998. Well, that's the same shit that was pulled in the early 2000s by Something Awful against some fucking guy on the news that was always ranting and raving. And he flipped out, and everybody thought it was just fucking dumb. But they use this tactic on you. They lie. They do face logs. I can fake an IRC log. I mean, it's a fucking... All you gotta do to fake an IRC log is open up a goddamn text file. All you have to do to fake a Skype log is to have people go in and change their names. I can make a Skype log showing you as the secret king of England ruling over the Illuminati with the Bilderberg bank behind you and fucking Templar gold. I mean, it's easy to fucking do. You can fake up bank statements. I knew a fucking meth head who used to fake up fucking insurance documents so that if they got pulled over, they had insurance docs. Anything on the internet can be faked. Because this trust, listen and believe shit completely goes against how I was raised, which was trust no one and question everything. So what I do is I go on there and I take a look at a lot of this stuff. I take everything with a grain of salt. You know, if they say a certain prominent person in anti-GG, you know, once robbed a fucking bank with a fucking rubber dildo, I don't believe that shit. But I do take a look at stuff. And I do retweet some stuff that I believe is verifiable and is not too toxic. Because while I can get down in the fucking mud, you know, in the mud and the blood and the beer, I don't like to. Because I feel that it doesn't really do anything. So I retweet various things through various accounts. I try to change people's minds with not saying, well, what are you, a fucking SJW? I don't say that. I say, okay, where's your proof for what you're saying? You know, and they give me this proof, and I'm like, yeah, that's really all and good, but that ain't true. And I then provide proof. I mean, you guys have heard me in the stream well enough talking about, no, this thing's bullshit, don't retweet it. Don't fucking pass it on, because all you're doing is playing into the fucking thing. Because there's three types of things. There's black propaganda, which is lies. All lies about your opponent, about you. If you're defeated, you say it's a victory. If your opponent wins, you say they lost. There's gray propaganda, which is 2 to 3 parts truth, 1 to 2 parts lie. And then there's white propaganda, where you tell the truth. Anybody who engages in black propaganda is only going to get short-term gains, because black propaganda is the ultimate in losing. You're going to lose. You're going to be found out. We're seeing that now. You're going to be found out, and people like me are going to retweet that you've been found out to be a scuzzy fucking person before you saw the light when GamerGate started, so that you can jump on and become famous. And so I always promote white propaganda because it's better. It's verifiable. The facts never change. So I retweet. I try to talk some people down for making complete asses of themselves. And if you want to rant, go ahead and rant. My wife's the queen of rants. I fucking rant all the time because I'm old and I'm allowed to. But I try to talk them down before they go off and do something stupid by making accusations that aren't true or possibly gray because it can't be fully verified. And just because you want to believe something does not make it true. So I do the hashtag on Twitter, and I don't really like Twitter. I've used Twitter since I've been involved in GamerGate more than I ever did.
Yes.
Because usually it was just, hey, come check out my stream and fuck today. That was usually my status messages. But I use the hell out of it now. I don't really go to Reddit because I don't. I don't really go to 4chan because because I'm old. I mean, I don't want, there's always the old guy at the club. You go to the club and there's that guy. He's not old, but he's a little too, like Chris Rock says, a little too old to be in the club. That's how I feel on Reddit and 4chan, and I don't want to be that guy. I mean, I get what they're talking about. I watch anime with my kids. My daughter like loves Attack on Titan, and I watch that. And my other daughter likes certain animes because they're teenagers and they grew up with anime. And I'm not gonna lie, I watched Akira and the Valley of the Winds when we had it on bootleg VHS from some guy that came back from Japan and had a copy of it. And that's right, it's Nazca, thank you. We always call it the girl with no panties because we had such a shitty videotape that looked like she wasn't wearing any underwear. But no shit, I'm old, I lost track. I'm old, and I don't want to go there and be that old guy that, everybody else is like 17, 18, and 19, and, I'm pushing 50. They don't want grandpa around, and I don't need to be around. I'll just play Payday 2 and fuck off, and they can, have their forums, because that's great. But, so I stay off of there. I stay off of Facebook because my Facebook page got just crushed. I had all kinds of stuff come up, and my friends and family saw it, and we're talking stuff like German Scheisse porn and horse porn and fucking Lolita anime porn all over my fucking page. And my mother had a stroke, and so she likes to look. She's not very old now in her head. So she wanted to look at my, she would look on my Facebook page to see how I was doing. And I only used it to post like a picture of me here and there. But she absolutely lost her shit. And she posted, please stop putting this stuff on my son's wall. And so they tore up a fucking elderly lady with a stroke's fucking Facebook page. Because somebody said that her son was a bad person who didn't agree with the social justice warriors on disabilities, because I'm disabled, but I'm not allowed to speak about it. So if I do spend any time on Facebook, it's tagging onto my mom's new profile and making sure she's not getting shit splattered all over her, and basically erasing myself from my family's Facebooks. That way they can't be tagged back to me, because I don't care if they fucking do that shit to me, because I'm old, I've seen it all before, and you young punks got nothing. And I've had it smeared all over the place. I've had lies told about me. I've had the truth exposed about me about things. And it doesn't worry me about me, but I don't use Facebook because I don't want it to splatter my family. Because anti-Gamergate has been really good at splattering people's families. So the hashtag I see involved in on a couple accounts, all of them use the same name. So it's not like I'm sock puppeting. They all use the same name, and I use it because I use each Twitter to keep track of different parts of the hashtag. And like I said, I don't use Facebook. I read the Kotaku and actions people pass to me or whatever from Reddit, but I don't go to Reddit. Number one, the site's ugly as shit. But and I don't go to 4chan because it's not my thing. Other than that, I try to, once in a while calm people down or talk shit through with them and try to explain people. I've turned like 5 or 6 people over to the Gamergate side who the only part they knew was the rhetoric of we hate women. And I was like, look, you know me personally. You sat there and drank with me. You know I don't hate women. And they're like, well, you might have changed. And I said, yeah, well, I might have farted and flown to the moon too, but, one of these things is more likely than the other. And they're like, okay, I see your point. And I show them the ugliness that's mostly from the other side and the lies and everything. And they've come over to our side. And I've told them, look, don't come out saying you're a fucking Gamergater. All right, you do that, and people like Randy Harper say that if they don't agree with you, it's perfectly okay to dox you and call your work. I don't want this to happen to these people, so I just tell them keep an open mind. You know, including a couple people I know that live in the Boston area that have called their congresswoman and or emailed their congresswoman documents about Brianna Wu's self-harassment. After all, if you want to get Congress people involved, then you get their constituents involved, because all a Congress or senator thinks of is the votes. So you start saying, hey, you know, this person's political poison and you're buying it all the way, and I'm a constituent, and especially if it's true, they're going to back the fuck off or take a second look, because if there's one thing a politician knows how to do is throw somebody under the bus.
Yeah.
And well, hang on. I operate a lot different than you guys. You guys are all new school. You guys are all internet and everything and boards. I'm more the type to do the letter writing, more the type to deal with things a little more in the physical world. I mean, you guys are great at the fucking internet. I can't compete with you guys on the internet. You guys have your shit down. You guys know all this. I know how to use Imager, but I don't give a fuck about it. I barely know what Flickr does. So why the fuck should I be trying to copy you guys and fling them around like a fucking epileptic with a head wound? I'm better off at doing the letter writing, see which senators are up with which, contacting local government, shit like that. I mean, I've contacted my senator and representatives all about, if this shit comes up in Congress, this is little more than a naked power grab. This is, you know, and that's how I operate, and that's what I do for the hashtag. So, next question.
All right. What do you see in the future for GamerGate?
This is not going to be short. Everybody who thinks that this is going to be over in a year from now or 2 years, just because the initial people might fall by the wayside or get exposed as, you know, disgusting people, you're in for a world of surprise. Because the televangelists back in the 80s started taking on D&D after Pat Pulling couldn't accept that her son was homosexual and he ran off with his friends. They wrote a book about it. It became Mazes and Monsters. Stackpool did an excellent rebuttal to all of this. But Patricia Pulling was brought in by the FBI to act as an advisor on satanic cults. And this shit lasted for years. In the 1990s, when they came out with AD&D 2nd Edition, they actually removed demons and devils and then later released them, but had repackaged them and renamed them due to all this social pressure. It was 10 fucking years, and the pressure is going on. As a matter of fact, the pressure still goes on in the RPG community. The pressure still goes on in television. Back when I was a kid, cable TV meant titties. Cable TV meant you flip the channel to a cable TV show, and here's a soap opera where she's got her titties hanging out. Like, this is the 80s. Yeah, it was Swedish erotica, HBO After Dark, Skinamax, all that shit. You turn on cable TV now, it's just as boring, if not more boring, than regular fucking stations, because they won. Because they did it by funding lobbyists and passing the money and shooting loads of money up fucking senators' asses while the senators said, "Thank you, sir, may I have more?" They lost on that point. This is not a short struggle. It will never be a short struggle, because video games are a multi-billion-dollar industry. And where you get the multi-billion-dollar industries, you get the people coming in saying, "Oh, we need to change this, and for a few $100,000, I can advise you how to," and putting pressure to change it to what they want. There is a driving need in some people to force others to behave. Those people have always been here. They've always been here. They're not content with the laws and legislation they have. They want laws and legislation to make it so that you have to behave according to their standards. They're not going away. They are not going away. There are more and more people that are going to get on the bandwagon. They're going to approach from different areas. They're going to approach from different angles. They are always going to be there to control what you think, what you see, what you do, because it's human fucking nature. This is not a short fight. It's not going to be over, and it's going to be here for a long time. It's going to go up and down. In a few years, probably most video games will have every single female character covered up, and she will be like in the Hollywood movies, where a strong, independent woman is a complete goddamn psychopath instead of, you know, real women. And then it's going to swing the other way. You know, over the course of several years, it'll swing where every woman is half naked and somebody drill a hole in her head and let the air out. It's going to swing back and forth, and this is going to be a long thing. Not all of us are going to stay for the long haul. I mean, fuck, eventually I'm going to fucking die, and it's going to be up to everybody else. But it's not going away. The future is, this is it. This is the struggle. Get your shit together. Learn how to fight in the real world. Learn how to do this in the real world. Learn how to prevent legislation. Learn how to make sure that you can contact your senators. If nothing else, form a counter lobby. Because money talks, bullshit walks. And the quicker you accept that, and the quicker you accept that this is all about the money. It's money and control. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you understand this fight. And that's what it is. This is an ideological war. Because there will always be someone seeking to make you behave and take away your human right to be an asshole. Okay, and the other thing is if you're an asshole, you also have the human right to get called out and to suffer the consequences of your actions. They're trying to take this away from you. They're trying to take away your right to say, I don't like this, or I don't agree with this, or say, I like this. They want to be able to tell you what you like, what you can and cannot look at. Plain and simple. They will always be here. Video games make too much goddamn money for them to fucking not be involved, and they're too much a part of the media. Okay, you guys are playing as much video games as we were watching TV, and it's the next fucking devil. And it's more and more congressmen are going to get out. We can expect the 700 Club any day to weigh in about how much video games are the devil. And once that starts, then the war starts. All this is just skirmishing. This is just fucking Hitler mobilizing on the fucking borders of Poland to fucking Godwin myself. The real war will start when people like the 700 Club get involved. Because they got money, and they got power, and they like to control others. And if you're standing there still thinking this is all a Twitter battle,
Oh my God.
when the 700 Club comes running in, you're fucked.
It's not about
Get your shit together.
It's about the internet.
That and
Trying to steal the internet, and they're trying to monopolize the internet.
I know.
It's all about
Can I?
the internet.
But like my wife was saying, and this is also about control of the internet. If they can show that we are deviants and disgusting and we just use the internet to attack people, legislation will be laid on the internet to prevent you from being an asshole. Because that's your natural state as an asshole. We are not the #1 apex predator because we're fucking nice. We're assholes who will eat anything we can catch. And you know, plants have no chance either because the vegetarians are there. But like my wife was saying, it's all about controlling the internet. That's what this is going to move to now. They failed on all these different bills coming through. Sooner or later, one of these assholes is going to realize by showing GamerGate as sociopathic assholes who swat people and fucking abuse women on video games, because this is online content, which is not rated by the ESRB, you can bet your ass that legislation will come. Okay, and if you're standing there with your dick in your hand, writing fucking blog articles and on Twitter, and they get involved with legislation and you don't know how to combat it. If you're one of the people on Twitter and you don't worry about legislation, educate yourself. Because know your strengths. I know I'm not as good as Twitter as Andrew and all here or anybody else that I talk to, but I deal with writing legislators, taking a look at what the lobbyists are proposing and reading the fucking read the fucking proposals. You can get them. You can download them. Read this. This is not a short fight. If you don't learn how to read a fucking congressional proposal, you're going to be surprised. You're going to be shocked when all of a sudden, holy fuck, from now on, my IP can be turned over to anybody who files a harassment claim on me. I mean, and how long do you think you're going to stay anonymous then? Because you were worried about Twitter and you didn't pay attention to one paragraph in a fucking bill on farm aid. Learn your shit. This is not a short fight. This is a long fight. And you can either stand there and say, oh, I'm making a difference because I retweet 20 things a day, or you can learn how to fight because the adults are getting involved now. The FBI, the NSA, all the big boys. These are the adults. The IRS is going to get involved. Because where the money is, the IRS is right there. Where information transfer is, the NSA is all up in that shit. You may think I sound fucking crazy with the NSA, you know, talking about no such agency. But don't you think they would love to make it so that they don't have to get a subpoena to find out somebody's IP address? And then check out all their fucking logs, all their communication? Oh, they'll wrap it in anti-terrorism. They'll wrap it in safe spaces for people and protecting minorities. But it's all about power. Power and money, baby. It's what makes the world go round. So what do I see for Gamergate? A long fucking slog with constantly shifting battlefields, constantly shifting goalposts, and allies that come and go. And if you think that they're not going to try to control what you see, what you play, and what you're allowed to think, you're a goddamn fool. Next question.
So what would you like to change within Gamergate?
Within Gamergate,
Improve or stuff Gamergate is doing good and things you would improve.
I think Gamergate is doing good about opening eyes that, you know, we're not all misogynistic. We all live in the basement. All right, I haven't lived in my parents' basement since I was 9, and my dad refurbished the basement for all his boys so that we could, you know, act like stupid boys. Because, you know, we were down there playing rock and roll and, you know, playing Pong. But, and they say that, you know, it makes violence against women, and we managed to refute that. They say that playing violent video games makes you violent. No. If you play video games and go out and shoot up a school, it has nothing to do with video games. Your fucking brain was broken. And that's more of trying to blame the American mental health care system on video games. Okay, when poor families can't afford to go get medication, and and the media makes such a big deal about psychosis and turning everybody who's mentally ill evil, then they're trying to lay it on video games. Gamergate has done a really good job of combating that. That playing video games doesn't mean you're a sociopath, it doesn't make you a sociopath. What I would like to change, if I could change anything about Gamergate, I don't know. I am not a general. I'm not an officer. I am not a good leader, and I'm not a good role model. I'm a terrible fucking person.
I think that what you said about earlier with legislation, that's I think would be a good suggestion.
I would like if more people did get involved in their legislation and did start. I would like for more people to start playing with the adults. And see, I keep saying adults. I'm not saying that everybody involved in Gamergate is a child. When I'm talking about adults, I'm talking about your big fucking organizations that can stomp a mud hole in your ass and you have no chance. I would like for people to engage them more. Because right now, all they're hearing is the rhetoric from the other side. That we're terrorists, we're worse than ISIS, we probably all beat women. And I'd like it if more people got involved with the adults and not fucking sending a letter full of profanity and fucking stupid shit. Okay, use your fucking education. I'd like to see Gamergate move a little bit more out of inflamed rhetoric and more into, well, less inflamed rhetoric and more precise, calm, well thought out responses. But that's me. But there will always be a place for firebrands. Every movement needs a firebrand. Firebrands get attention. But we need to have more people than just firebrands. But the biggest thing I'd change about Gamergate, if I could, I'd make it so doxing is totally unacceptable. See, I don't care about me. I mean for both sides. For both sides and everybody involved. I mean, I would change it so that both sides did not use doxing and hurting and other people's families and contacting their work. Because having somebody on, like Randy Harper saying it's okay to dox people and call their work if you don't like them, that is disgusting and cowardly. Because if you don't have the balls to come to me face to face and you just got the balls to call my fucking boss behind my back like a little bitch, like that little fucking bully's buddy in fucking school that always hid behind the bully, if you're going to be like that, I don't want you fucking around me. I'd change it so that doxing and contacting employers I'm not talking, you know, you dug up that this guy was embezzling company money. Don't contact his fucking employer. Don't contact an employer because they said, I I support GamerGate or I don't support GamerGate. Not for that. Know when it's fucking usable. I guess I'd change. I don't know what I'd change. I mean, I'd like for more people to get involved with, like I said, legislation and paying attention to what Congress is doing. And the other thing is, stop thinking that Congress is the end-all be-all. Watch out for your state. Watch out for your local government. Because states' rights is a huge thing. And if you're paying attention to the feds and your state all of a sudden passes a law where the state police can now look at your IP logs without a subpoena, well, you've already lost that fight. It doesn't matter what the feds do. Next question, if you got one.
All right, that's pretty much all I have. We kind of went twice as long as I planned, but I think you had a lot of to say, so I don't mind. I mean, that's what these things are about. So, yeah, I want to thank you for coming on, and
Thanks for having me, man.
yeah, so you're always welcome on my streams. So yeah, I want to thank everyone for watching. We have 11 viewers right now, so that's kind of cool.
Wow. Holy shit, 11 people heard what I had to say. Wow.
Yeah, I'm looking at the chat, and they like your stuff. So.
Hey, you guys be careful out there. Whichever side you're from, be careful out there.
Yeah. All right. So I'm closing this down. Thanks for coming on, Jack.
No problem.
Yeah.
Go clean your room.